A delightful Wednesday morning to you and welcome to A's Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? The platform for the informed, curious and passionate persons. Our conversation this morning is quite a sensitive one, yet a lot of people shy away from it and it's more common than we know. This is where I ask you to join this conversation and other amazing discussions that we have here today, from the newspaper headlines to the hot topic. And also, you can tune in every Monday to Friday as we explore pressing discussions, public perspective, and inspiring stories. Of course, I will be your anchor for today. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and I welcome you to the show this morning alongside my precious Lady Vibe. Good morning, girl.
Good morning, Oluchi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you too?
Beautiful, as usual. Or do I use the word hot?
Hot, kwa. I'm glad to hear that. You know, there's been a lot of news buzzing lately, and I know we're going to come to the news reviews from the whole CBX story to the recent judiciary legal issues with money from a particular government, and so many other things happening, even health-wise. Lassa fever. Today is even World Autism Day. So it seems as though in our nation, there's really no time where we can just have calm. There's always something to talk about from different sector. If you're not looking at the health sector, you're looking at the finance sector. You're looking at...
Somebody's looking for the money that kept in his
It's a whole lot. And I just want to ask you, since today is not just, you know, Health Day, but also how to help people preserve their mental health, how do you manage to cope with all the news that you hear, considering that it's your job to let the audience know what's happening, and then you also have to be sane? So how do you cope with all of this?
Honestly, it's a lot because, again, if you look at, like, what's going on, what's trending, it's something that's affecting either you directly or indirectly. The fact that you're in the country to affect you. It's well outside the country that you hear them say things, there's headway somewhere. Do you understand? But when you're here in Nigeria, you're seeing everything that's going on. It's glaring on your face. You understand that it's a lot happening. So honestly speaking, I think it's first off to have the mindset of, okay, some of those things need like actionable, you know, solutions, right? We need to work on it. So why I have the mindset of, okay, we can work on this. I mean, my own job really is to put out the solutions. And that's why for every time I sit on the table, I'm not more about, oh, let's hope. Let's be, in as much as I want us to be optimistic, I like us to also face reality. Do you understand? So why we are also, you know, forging our head to speak about the government and their SSCs and how I feel like they are too busy, you know, to check out some of the things that are going wrong in the country. I also try as much as possible to have that conversation around, oh, what exactly are we doing as, you know, citizens of the country? What patriotic, you know, things are we put in place to ensure that, okay, we are even striving and doing well as a citizen of the country. So I feel like when I have that mindset of, oh, it's not just a government thing, it's also like our problem, it's my problem. So what exactly am I doing differently? What impact have I made every day? You remember yesterday I was making reference to the impact that you make. When you as a person start making impact in your locality, there's this ease that comes to you, there's this peace that comes to you, because again, you know for sure that anything that is happening outside your jurisdiction, you really can't help it. But when we start having everybody being intentional about growth, about, you know, setting things in their space, I don't think we'll be in so much problem or would have issues with our mental health that like we used to, we would have or we expected to have. Because again, if you look at what's going on in the newspaper, it's enough to cry. It's enough to shout, it's enough to yell. But again, like I said, when you yourself start doing certain things intentionally to ensure that people in your locality, they are okay, they are safe and all of that, you will not, you know, feel that much mental pressure. So yeah.
You know what I think about all of this thing? I'm just trying to merge different things I've heard lately, that it was almost like, would I say an epiphany, like you just open up truth that you were not really privy to before now. And that would be about being educated on certain things that are happening. I know it's okay to, for the average Nigerian, it's okay to just think, oh, there's a whole lot that is wrong with the government. I mean, if you talk to an average Nigerian today, whether they know anything about policy making or reforms,
immediately you just take it to the government.
Say, the government is bad and all of that. But when we had our show on Monday, and one of the guests mentioned that the average Nigerian is not even aware of certain ministers in some very key position. It opened my eyes to realize that sometimes we just blabber on certain things without even having our facts that can make us even hold these people accountable. And then I did watch another interview somewhere, and this particular very prominent person mentioned as well that the reason why we can't even hold some of these people as accountable as we want, you know, there are different ways to hold people accountable. You can think that just making a fuss about things is holding people accountable. That's why we are seeing activists not making way as we think they should. But there are other ways to hold them accountable, and it stems from knowing exactly what is obtainable in your society. What are the reforms that are there? Do you understand? How did they come about? Who are the certain ministers that we have in prominent positions? I think, you know, me, I think I'm also someone who is about to change in that environment. Because honestly, let's say a few months back or few years back, I wasn't one that was more particular about the happenings of the society. I just felt like, well, in my own space, we're just managing and we're going through the day. But looking at this job and the fact that this job exposes me to what's really happening across board in different sectors makes me realize that ignorance is not a way to fight this battle that we're having. So it shows that we need to go for knowledge. We need to have adequate knowledge, equip ourselves with it so that we can be able to bring about the reforms and the changes that we need. Of course, it's World Autism Awareness Day 2025, and we're discussing the importance of acceptance and inclusion for autistic individuals with a focus on the theme advancing neurodiversity and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But first, we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts on our social media handles from Instagram to TikTok to YouTube to X and Facebook. Just share with us how aware are we of autism and its complexities. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll take you through the top stories across the globe. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
All right, great to have you back from that break. Now let's take a look at news from the pages of today's newspaper. We would highlight the top stories from The Punch, The Guardian, and the international paper. Of course, let's go internationally.
All right, straight into the Guardian newspaper. We have at the top left banner, turning over a new leaf. Top right banner, we have, we need to explore the light side of human nature, and that's from Penn Badgley. Then the central headline, we have the largest teaching union describes reform UK as far right and racist. Bottom left, under the main headline, we have this isn't an act of war, it's a sheer terrorism. Simi runs, it's dead. Top right side column, we have overhaul of carers allowance checks. Then the bottom of the right column, which is the last headline on the newspaper, has Obama backs Harvard overfunding cut. So I would start, there are two the two headlines that I feel like it's important for us to touch on. So the first one is the overhaul of carers allowance checks. So the UK government has announced a major reform. So sorry. Thank you. A major reform on how the carers allowance is monitored and checked. This move follows growing concerns about overpayments and the burden placed on carers who unintentionally receive incorrect funds. Thousands of unpaid carers rely on this allowance to support vulnerable individuals, right? Errors in the system, often due to complex rules and minor breaches, have resulted in carers facing large payment demands, causing financial and emotional distress. Now, this overhaul aims to reduce the pressure and ensure fairer and more accurate assessment. So I feel like it was important to talk about this a bit because, again, this is how you know that this is how you know that, you know, this particular country, their governments are actually very intentional about their citizens, right? Now, see, carers. Now, carers are like people that take care of, you know, all of the old people and all of that. Now, these persons in question, they don't even get enough pay. Like the people that the employers that employ these people don't pay them enough. So that's where the government steps into. You say okay, if you know you don't earn up to this amount, we'll pay you, right? We'll add in so that you can be able to take care of your bills and all of the things that you need money for, right? Now, there's not a conversation about they feel like some people are overpaid, where probably they are. So there's this cut-off mark that they make. Let's say, for example, this is an example, 1,000 naira. So if, for example, your employer is already paying you up to 1,000 naira, I don't need to pay you. Like the government don't need to pay you. But when you're earning below 1,000 naira, that's when they'll step in to pay. So they'll pay
to
you.
match it up to like 1,000 naira. Okay.
So that, I mean, there's equality and everybody's able to take care of their needs. Do you understand? So now they feel like some people are already earning up to 1,000 naira and they're still collecting money. You know, again, I think the clause here is the fact that some of these carriers they are not aware of the law or the rule that, oh, once you're earning up to this amount, there's no need to get paid and all of that. So that's something they are working on. And I think this is like a technology, whatever, because again, there's just that, you know, that fix, whatever, that, oh, once it's this particular, so I think they pick them weekly. So once it's the particular day of, you know, them being paid, the money just goes into the account without anybody checkmating and all. So it just came to their notice now that, oh, there are some people that have been overpaid. Why they are, you know how you pay certain persons that you think they're not supposed to pay, and there's some other person that actually even need the money more than them. So now they're just trying to create a balance around it. So yeah, again, I feel like one of the reasons why I picked this topic was because, this headline rather, was because, again, it shows the intentionality of a working country. You understand?
A working government.
A working government, yeah. So there's one other story that I wanted to talk on.
Before you move on, I don't want my thoughts to fly away from that story. So yes, I think another thing to appreciate there is that certain professions
groups are actually taking care of,
yes, care. Because if you look at it in Nigeria today, professions like caregivers, they're not even given as much accolades, not to talk of helping with their pay when necessary. And I think this initiative, like you always say, there are pros and cons.
Yeah.
As much as it seems good, it makes a room for, you know, laxity on the part of people who employ these people, because they feel like, oh, if I don't want to spend a lot of money for this caregivers, the government is going to augment and fill it up. So if as an employer you're already a bit, you know, lackadaisical towards paying your staffs the presumed money just because you think the government is going to augment for it, it already shows that you're really not intentional about the job. But I like the fact that these kind of professions are given credence. And if you've heard of stories of Nigerians that go abroad, or people that, you know, go out for a living, that's really like the kind of profession that they go for first, caregiving, and they'll be sending you the dollars, whereas they're not doing any, you know, white-collar job per se in that sense. So I think it makes sense, and it's something we should have in our country.
Let me not say anything on that. But then, so there's a headline here that talked about the Ukrainian city, right? So let me quickly read this detail. And it says the Ukrainian city of Sumy is grieving after the deadly attack that left multiple civilians, including 2 children, dead. A powerful explosion devastated a residential area, leaving behind scenes of destruction, mourning, and trauma. So this is to give more updates about the whole war between the Russian and the Ukrainians. So just when we thought that, you know, these people will come to
they give us a
truce,
break.
I'm tired. And I like the fact that we've not heard of the news, you know, up to now. And the reason why we're even having the conversation because of like the children that are dead and all of that. So again, it just shows that there's, wherever there's war again, that's why it's even war, because there's a lot of destruction, there's a lot of things that's going to happen. For how many years this have been on, children are not going to school, people are not well taken care of, people are not going to work. Because again, you don't know where you go, where we say they go throw the bomb and all of this. So there's a lot of things to this thing, right? And again, there's so many things we've talked on. We talked about the women that, you know, that they are now like passing through certain kind of traumas because, abuse and all. So honestly speaking, I don't know when these two people, the two leaders in this, you know, countries will come together and just have, let me not use the word have sense, because again, that's going to be like I'm insulting anybody, but I just feel like it's time for them to come to a truce. It's time for us to have that peace talk. This has been going on, and it's not helping anybody. Do you understand? At the end of the day, that's one thing about when you have certain kind of leaders that make certain kind of laws. Do you understand? You make laws, you forget that the people that you are supposed to be serving that would end up, you know, that will face the brunt of whatever laws or whatever regulation or policy that you put in place. Do you understand? Because now, you have two elephants saying that, oh, I'm not agreeing for a truce or whatever. It's the people that are on the ground that is suffering for it, because it's the citizens. See this one now that they are dead, a particular city in Ukraine. It's a lot, honestly, and I just feel like it's time for them to come together and have that conversation. Yeah, so that's all I have for you.
So when you say it's time for them to come together and have that peace talk, I just look at it like, really?
Will that ever happen?
It's not going to ever happen.
Because again, we've had the UK and every other person put their mouth into it, but at the end of the day, it's not even giving.
You need to have more people putting their mouth into it. You need to have more international, what do you call this thing? Bodies being involved in this, because these two parties are not coming to a compromise at all. And the people suffering for it are like the usual proverb we say, the grass when two elephants are fighting. Because look at the presidents of these two countries. There was even this controversial stuff that says some of them are still even enriched in this kind of, you know, chaos that is happening. But people are not going to school. People are suffering. So at this point, I know the US did not give us an example of an international intervention. So we might have to start considering other world powers and some other organizations that are international that can come to just help out of all of this. Because sometimes I think of it like, if it was Nigeria that was in this situation, what would have happened exactly?
Yes, which would not
That's
be
why
that
we
kind
should
of
be thanking God. Even though it's our governmental issues, God is still preserving us. But let me take you through the Nigerian papers. Trust me, we have some interesting stories. I know you've been hearing some things.
I hope positively interested.
Well, not positively interesting.
So why?
It's interesting because this is like a diversion from what we thought would be a serious matter to something like we caused ourselves. So let me just take you through it. I'll start with the Punch. The major headline reads, Interpol joins EFCC in 1.3 trillion naira CBEX probe. EFCC cracks down on other Ponzi schemes. Police shot CBEX office. Victims recount losses. Plateau killing, how militants attacked villages near major army formation, says victims. Oil slump, Trump tariffs put Nigeria's economy at risk. Federation account allocation falls third straight month to 1.57 trillion. Defense Minister's service chiefs review security strategies. Below that, we also see Tinubu inherited economy on life support, says Umahi. 2027, I have capacity to be president, says Makinde. Sanwo-Olu inaugurates courthouse for commercial dispute. Will petition NFF over debts on paid wages, Christian Chukwu's son say. Lassa fever kills 127 in 18 states. Alsa community backs Olu Ibadan removal of Sarkin Sarsel. Let me clear my throat for this story because I'm glad, of course, viewers can go have a more elaborate discussion or opinion on this particular CBEX story on our page. The Primetime News did uncover this story yesterday. And I think I just came across it yesterday, and I'm glad that the papers have it, you know, expressed. At the crux of this, we're just looking at, you know, fraudulent activities already making waves. Even when we think that Nigerians learn their lesson, Nigerians we have that capacity to still put our hand in fire after we've been burnt.
Isn't not part of the faith and belief system?
When we've been burnt, like, maybe this one will not burn me this time. I'll give you an example before I even go into the intricacy of this particular story, in case you're just hearing of it today. So I know of a friend in 200, 300 level, somebody I know personally, that fell victim to Ponzi scheme.
Oh, my Lord.
And I'll give you the story very, very, briefly. So I think this one was Rackstelly. And as much as I don't want to call out the name, this was a Ponzi scheme in that sense that even had endorsement of celebrities in that particular scheme. So you give it a bit of credibility. Let's not even go into the intricacies, but you get what I'm saying. And then I was telling Chinelo this morning that the reason why some people used to fall for this greed is because of testimonials. And not testimonials that you see online, but testimonials of my sister did it.
But like I said,
it's
not church.
That's how things thrive. Why do you think you want to buy something online? Because, oh, she got it from this vendor, is working. Once I can see that somebody did not fall prey to it, I feel like, oh, I'm okay enough to get it. And there's something I've noticed with all these Ponzi scheme people. A friend told me that, see, these people, they have some psychological working.
Of course, now.
They will allow the first set to cash out.
That is how
it's looking like, oh, this thing actually works.
That is how they do it.
By the time those ones have cashed out with the other people's money, the second set will now be the prey of the whole thing. And I'm wondering, how can we eradicate ourselves? Yes, like remove ourselves totally from this.
Let me just give you this scenario. If I live here today and I go to the road and I just do 1, 2, 3 miracles, do you know I will have a disciple? Do you agree or not?
You should have a disciple.
Exactly. So what are we saying?
Because you are playing on people's desperation and the fact that they need help.
That's the problem.
So you get.
What do you mean by that?
Because if it's
no, see, this is what I'm trying to say here. The fact that a lot of Nigerians, I like the word desperate, right? We don't sit down to think about things. So you see this thing, it's fine. Think about it first. Okay, see, again, it's just like the way, you know, Chinelo concluded that it's not possible for someone like me to fall victim to these things. Because again, I've heard this person's testimony. Fine and good. Wonderful. The Lord is good. Amen. But how about you think about it first? Yeah. How about, again, also have the spirit of discernment. I'm not going to take that out because that's literally that's what has helped me so far. Do you understand? You look at these things thoroughly. Even when it has the backing of certain celebrities. How many celebrities say if you they see backup? We are two now we have this discussion. I told you people that there are some kind of celebrities that I hear, see, they might be making impact, or it might be monetary impact, but that doesn't mean that you should give the person 100%, credibility or so. There are some of these people, not be our two, they see, what do they call these people now? You see them with the something bet this thing, something bet that. They too, they are in need of money. So anybody that brings a business deal, they are definitely going to use their face to sell it. So we should also be very cautious of the kind of celebrities that we even listen to. Some people let's not lie, some people are up there. Some people are celebrities because of their kind of music, not really because of the impact that they have made so far.
True.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if you see okay, let me not call name, but if there's some certain celebrities that you see today, when you see them selling some certain kind of things, you're supposed to think first. You're supposed to ask yourself, okay, what will make this person they even sell this thing? How sure are we that this thing is something I should put my hands on or even patronize?
True.
So again, we should also be very cautious of all of these things. We like taking Desperado too much. We know they ever relax. We don't take a break. And really, you see something, it's fine, it's glittering. We are always that, oh, let's see, let's buy, let's this, let's that. You don't take your time. I'm very sure that this CBEX forever did not, it's not something that have stayed for a long time. It just came, certain people just saw it, they made their money, they went. Then, of course, the next people that heard, how long has this business tried for? How long have this thing been in market for? I'm very sure it's not even up to a year. I can bet that. Do you understand? This thing I've not stayed in it has not been there for a long period of time. So why should you put all your money into it?
Well, The Guardian has it differently. The Guardian says that desperate Nigerians lose over 1.7 trillion to Ponzi scheme in 9 years. Now, I don't know if they're referring to the CBEX Ponzi scheme that is 9 years, or maybe other Ponzi schemes altogether in 9 years. This is how much we've lost. So you have mentioned a lot of things. And somebody, again, on a particular platform had to pull that Nigerians need to be less subjective with their, overly star-struck moment with certain celebrities, because these people are putting in some troubles that you don't want to, be associated with. Particularly, this CBEX stories has some underground, controversies to how some celebrities were involved in it. I don't want to go through the whole story in detail because it's a very controversial and very sentimental one. And in this kind of story, you can't even sympathize with the people that have fallen victim because
you are not supposed to. You cannot.
Because you are paying.
How old are you?
And again, I'd like to end this particular story on this note that we are in a world where, because of the economic disadvantage that we have, right, we all want to multiply our money. And thankfully, there are some finance experts coming up to tell you that, don't have one stream of income, have multiple streams of income, invest in this, invest in stocks, invest in shares, and all of that. But there's somebody I watch a lot on Instagram that will tell you, make your research before you pump your money into any place. Especially if that money is hard-earned, even if they dash you, you should also make a research. If I'm putting this money here, how is it going to duplicate?
Where is the sense in somebody telling you that, just put 10,000 naira inside here now, you will get 100,000 naira? Why are you not asking the person, what's your benefit? Because again, if you have the mindset of all humans we are here to make money, take it or leave it. So nobody comes to give you a show free things. Even in Freetown, you hear them say nothing is free.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
So we have 5 ways to spot a Ponzi scheme. The Guardian helped us highlight this. It says high returns with no risk. Red flag. Guaranteed return on investment. Red flag. Unknown owners or corporate officers. Red flags. Pressure to reinvest and recruit new investors. I think this one has the linkage with network marketing. Bring 5, bring 10, bring 15, climb up the ladder.
That one too is a very dicey thing, actually.
It also says unregistered and unregulated. Red flag. And even though some of these things look like red flag, anytime they say unregistered and unregulated, today we have some of these companies, some of these Ponzi scheme that will go and fabricate a regulation or a registration and make it look like they're all corporate. Some of them even have offices. I was telling someone that for all these schemes to thrive, it's not just one person that will make it happen.
Of course.
There are different people. There are social media managers, content creators, content writers, developers. There are just normal people that they brought together. So the fact that we want to even stop this is a collective effort. Why would you want to be in a particular project just because you're going to get your returns? You don't know how exactly this affects people. I mean, the person who developed the app or whoever, however it's going to happen, you didn't know that this thing I'm doing is a very crooked stuff. Let me report to the next person. But because she thought that, well, it not concern me. Pay me my money, I develop your app, and I'm out. So you see how collective this problem is.
So I hear you, yeah. But again, you cannot blame the developer 100%. Because most of the time, people don't really tell you what exactly they're doing
if it comes to that, you can know. Anybody who is developing an app or something
are you being serious?
You would know, except you don't want to know. You know, there's a difference.
Exactly.
There's a difference when you can spot all the bugs and you're like, this is going to look criminalistic, but you still go ahead. So don't tell me that they don't know. If you're developing something that is going to harm people or is going to cause some scam in the future, you would know because you're the one literally putting things together. Why wouldn't you know? Many of these people, I don't think they're that intelligent to do the technical part of it. Maybe it's just the administrative part of it that they know how to do. So everybody who collectively helps these scammers, they are also bad people. That's my conclusion. You're also bad, even though you did not do this.
It's because you're not in the tech field.
If I mean, let me ask you, you're in the tech field, that's when you brings this kind of contract to you.
Don't ask me.
No, I need to know. You're going to take it? Are you going to take it?
Don't ask me.
Well, I think it's a question we need to start asking ourselves.
Really?
Yes. You spoke about desperation already.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the angle of citizens who just want to duplicate their money.
Yeah.
But there are also service providers that are engaged in certain ventures or projects that you know that is going to harm people in the long run. Maybe you're not doing it directly, but you still go ahead to put your contribution in it, which shows that you are equally a bad person.
I feel like most of the times, because again, you have a client tell you, oh, I want you to develop this for me. I want you to create an app for me. This is what it should be used for. This is it. This is it. This is it. So I mean, it's on me to do whatever I want me to do and give it to you and give my money. So I don't see where the conversation
then don't criticize people who are desperate to make money, because if you are just
joking?
About you give me a project, I get it done, I don't care what it's used for. That's wrong. There should be regulations where you are concerned about what is this going to be used for. I am from sane land. That's where I'm from. I am from sane land.
Honestly speaking, see. Okay, you know what?
I
think it's going to be a very...
But honestly, we've heard this over and over again. Let me give you the shocking story. Another Ponzi scheme is going to happen. Let's say next year, and some victims are already preparing the money they will use for that Ponzi scheme because they will not hear word.
I think there's also that mindset of, this is a new one. It just come new. If we put our money, we'll go be the first person to collect money. You know, Nigerians.
And the copywriters of the new Ponzi scheme will say, this is not like the others. Please not fall prey to it this time around.
They would find somebody like me that is the content writer to give them very
good
slogan.
You will soon be arrested for that. Somebody like
very
you,
good slogan. I will find a slogan that works with Nigerians.
It's not like the others. This one, the returns are guaranteed.
You're even speaking English. You're speaking English.
The returns are guaranteed.
Click
now. Click one to get started.
If you not see this one now, bonge, you understand? This one now original. We are not. Like
please, the country is going to get better. Don't fall scheme to all of this anymore.
See, again, most of these things just happen, like we said, from desperation and all of these things. By the time you as a human being start being intentional about not falling prey to all of these things, trust me, it will be a lot better. But again, that mindset of, oh, let's make money first. I mean, I just cannot think about it. Where somebody will tell you, just put 10,000 naira. I mean, 2 days you get 100,000. You're not asking the person. You won't call. What is your interest? it tire me. Oh.
He will tell you that 500 people have put this 10,000. So when we duplicate it times 1,000 divided by 518, this is how the money will come about.
My guy is not making interest. Instead, he's the one losing. So
all right, we need to really wrap up this segment, and let me take you through The Guardian. There's a story I wanted to open up, but we don't have time for that. But I'll just touch it briefly. The Guardian also has the Ponzi scheme story, and I've already spotted out 5 ways they said we can spot a Ponzi scheme. We also have stories here on reps. They inaugurate 21 members committee to make laws for rivers. Autonomy, court adjourns Algon suit against federal and state government. IGP vows justice as Mutrang visits grieving plateau communities. Nigerians dying due to Tinubu's incompetence, Atiku claims. Lagos says citizens spend 14 trillion naira yearly to power houses, homes and businesses. 2027, Atiku PDP youth bicker on alliance as Makinde voices capacity to lead Nigeria. Natasha's sexual harassment allegation, watery and contradictory, says Agba Kogba. Address pervasive killings decisively, Kaigama tells Tinubu. Inflation resumes upward trend, rises to 24.23% in March. And the last story here, which is really interesting, is Rivers vows to recover 300 million from National Bar Association, threatens legal action. Let me see if I can take you through the whole story. But honestly, that something just didn't seem right with the whole, that's Rivers and the NBA. So it says here that Rivers State government has countered claims by the Nigerian Bar Association that the 300 million it received from the government was an unconditional gift not tied to the hosting of its annual general conference in the state. But while expressing shock that NBA could go begging for support to organize its AGC, the senior advocate of Nigeria urged the lawyers to refund the money. So apparently, the story that we have here is the Nigerian Bar Association, I think they wanted to host their AGC conference, and they got an unconditional gift of 300 million naira from the Rivers State government. This looks like an unconditional gift, but firstly, it's a huge amount of money to give people to say, oh, you guys are doing great. And you know, you're not just gifting anybody. You're not gifting any organization, non-governmental organization. You're giving the legal sector of that state, of that nation, in money to celebrate what. And I like the fact that the senior advocate of Nigeria has urged the lawyers to refund that money because it becomes questionable at the end of the day. We already know how a lot of people are losing their trust. Let me not use a lot, but that's so absolute. But some people have some questions as regards the proceedings of the judiciary. So having facts like this where the judiciary is getting this huge sum of money for an annual general conference celebration, it's quite questionable. And though it looks like an unconditional gift, but there are other bodies, organizations, in fact, security, give it to Plateau State government that is literally facing insecurity now. And that would be a more unconditional gift than giving the Nigerian Bar Association for what exactly? So things like this, when I saw it, I felt like this should be highlighted. And the fact that they've urged them to return that money, but we know how it goes. Money that enter don't usually go out easily like that because it has been disbursed quickly and it can't go. What are your thoughts on this story?
I mean, it's just like you said, it's a bit shaky because why exactly are you giving them, the
300 million.
I mean, fingers crossed. Like you see this kind of stories, I just hope that we get updates on it. I mean, if truly the money, went back.
I don't want to know the update for it. If you want to give them money, let's say, 30 million is okay.
I want to. Because again, you know what's going on with the Rivers and, all the issues that have been happening there. So whatever that is, I mean, I also want to see what the link exactly is. Why exactly are you giving money to them? Is it like something that has to do with the Rivers, whatever, with the president and also? I feel like there's a linkage there. So that's why I said finger crossed. Finger crossed. Let's see.
All right. So this is where we come to the end of our banter this morning. The headline stories was actually part of our conversation today. And of course, after this break, we're going to go into our hot topic for today. We want to talk about the World Autism Day, see how to achieve acceptance and awareness in Nigeria. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I never see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back. Today has been very interesting. Our banter this morning had us exploring different things happening in our country, from the recent CBEX Ponzi scheme story to the Rivers State government to Atiku's claim, even the international papers with Trump, Ukrainians, and Russian story has been quite amazing. And if you missed any of this segment, I wonder where you were. Anyways, we want to talk about the autism for today. It's autism, it's World Autism Day, and we are trying to achieve acceptance and awareness of this in Nigeria because it requires a multifaceted approach. But we can start first with raising awareness to educate people about autism, its effect, and the importance of acceptance. Media platforms can also take the initiative to share these stories, and highlight the challenges that autism individuals face. Lastly, awareness can be done through engaging with local communities, especially in rural areas, to dispel cultural misconceptions and promote the understanding of autism. Acceptance is another pivotal factor. Advocacy for policies that support inclusive education, healthcare, and employment opportunities for autistic individuals has to be discussed. Provision for training of teachers, healthcare professionals, and employers to understand and support autistic individuals is also extremely important. The establishment of support groups for families and caregivers of autistic individuals can also drive positive change by providing a platform for sharing experiences and resources. The challenges are eminently visible, from limited access to services like diagnostic facilities, therapies, and specialized education, particularly in rural areas. We also have stigmatization and discrimination. Culturally, there are several misconceptions and stigmas surrounding autism and autistic individuals. Lack of governmental support is another challenge. There are no autism-specific services, including funding and policy development. How can we empower autistic individuals is a question that we really need to answer. So as we observe this important day, we're reminded that autism awareness is just the first step. True acceptance and inclusion require a deeper understanding of the needs and experiences of autistic individuals, and we explore ways to create inclusive policies, provide support initiative, and offer training to improve the life of autistic people. And my ladies and I will do justice in our own way to this conversation. So yeah, let's bring this home. It's no news that I studied guidance and counseling in the University of Lagos. And I think one part of my program in the school was when we had to do special needs education. And I really didn't enjoy that part of the program. I think it was in 200 level. Maybe because of how sensitive the topic was. And I felt like for a topic that's even important, a lot of justice was not even done to it. It was almost like the students there were just keen on, oh, let's just pass this one to and move to the next. But, and again, I think there were comments where, some people saw the news that special needs education should have its own department in universities where individuals are trained, do you understand, to be able to cater for special needs children. I've said it many times on this table that people who are disabled, people who have some impairment, whether it's congenital or it's adventitious, that is, whether they were born with it or it happened to them during the course of their life, they need to be specially taken care of. And they should not also be referred to as disabled people. I think that's one thing I learned that stuck with me. So, calling people deaf or disabled are really not, they are awful statements to use for these people, because disabled means that they're not able to do something. They might be disabled in a particular, part of their body or with some organs of their body, but they're still able enough to be able to achieve other things. And we have stories of people. In fact, I think recently we have communities now, we have organizations and bodies that are now very pro special needs people. So firstly, we need to start changing our verbiage and how we address these people. They are not disabled. Of course, it looks like a disability, but they're just special needs and they require special attention and special care. And it's a sad thing. So doing this in school, we explored several reasons to how, this come about. And autism is another very scary one to look at, owing to the fact that autism might not even be firstly noted in a person. It has this subtle way of hiding its symptoms. While some can be loud about it and all of that, you know, others can just tone it down. So eventually you might not even get the diagnosis until much later in the child's development and growth. So in school, then I remember that we had a lot of outreaches that we usually go for. And this only happened in 200 level. That's so funny. I think I did special needs only in 200, maybe a little in 300 level. So we were posted in different groups to different schools. And I would tell you very heartfeltly that it was sad looking at these children that were special needs. I almost use disabled to show that it's the problem that we really need to start working on. And seeing these people, one thing I noted was that these people are actually understaffed. So in some of these schools, I saw teachers that were passionate about the job. Now, I do not know if this passion is a facade. You know, when you see certain people come into your environment, you seem to want to put up a face of, we take care of the children so well. Yeah, in this school, we are for the special need people. I do not know if it was a facade because I have my reservations many times to people acting all funny. So that's one, but at least they did show us to an extent that they cared about these children. And some of them were actually, they needed special requirement themselves. They had some disabilities in their bodies. So I saw blind teachers that were teaching blind students. Oh honestly, there was actually a deaf teacher too, or something like that. I'm like, this is good because it shows that inclusion, even with, you know, employment in the education space. And I'll say that every time I was going there, I wasn't feeling exactly ecstatic to be there because I felt like it was a very sensitive one. How much of an impact was I even doing? Because we were not going there as people who were aiding the teaching. It was not our teaching practice. We're just going as observers to see how things are done. And some of the things I observed were, you know, even with special needs children, they're also great. There were some that were in the classroom with everybody. There were some that were excited to still live life regardless of whatever I'm facing. There were some that were very aggressive. There was this claim that people who are deaf tend to be more aggressive because since they cannot, you know, pick sounds together, and when they want to talk, their audio is like trying to match up with what they think is right. Do you get it? It's almost like when somebody is on earpiece and you're speaking to them and they're speaking at the top of their voice because they're not really hearing what you're saying. So we had some aggressive people there and all. And everything just... Today, what I want us to discuss is not the problem. I remember when Okiki had the thought of this topic, she was like, it's more about showing these people as heroes, right? And I today want to look at how we can best... You know, how we can best ensure that structures are put in place so that these people can thrive in their environment. So I want to start with looking at the education system in Nigeria. I want you to share your own thoughts with me. How do you think we can ensure more inclusive education for special needs children, more than we have?
So I would literally start with the fact that not everybody has come to accept all of these things. Because again, there's that culture bias where you hear the likes of, you know, you hear people say, oh, this thing, something from your kingdom or something from one marine kingdom, something village people and all of that. Yeah, they forget, they are yet to understand that these are like medical, you know, issues and all of that, diagnosis and all. So I think the first thing is, for accepting that there's something like this, right? I remember there was a time where Bovi came out one time, I think it was on a podcast or so, where, you know, he was talking about how his child, when the child wanted to talk or something, kind of broke TV, and that's like the second or the third time. And you saw how people came at him, and they're like, oh, what kind of training is that? So why would you allow your child? Until he was able to explain that, oh, my child has an issue with speaking, right? He has an issue with speaking and all of that. And then even with that, some people still had an issue with it. That one not me saying go they break TV now.
Imagine.
You can imagine that. So that one not me saying go they break TV now. So there's really a lot. It has to first start with be accepting that, understanding that there's something like this, and that's the first way we can literally start, you know, ensuring that there's that training up when it comes to the teachers and all of that. Because again, just like we're making mention of the fact that you see like a blind teacher teaching the blind and all, not many persons want to have that. Not many persons have that openness to want to teach. I'm not saying it's a forced thing, but I'm saying that when you're ready, if you're with the right mindset of, oh, these people are humans like you, there's really it's no big deal. Do you understand? It's no biggie. Someone like me, like I've said this so many times, I'm open to children. I'm open to anybody really. Like if I tell you if children are here today, trust me, the first person they notice is me. I'm so sorry. But it happens
You call
so
them
many
besties.
times. It happens so many times. So whether they are, you know, special kids or not, I'm telling you that, like, that's just how down to earth I am when it comes to, you know, children and all. So how much more people are teaching them? Do you understand? But again, that would only start with when you already have the right mindset towards things. Children would always know when, you know, when they have somebody that is open to them. But only the way you are speaking to them alone, they already know, oh, should I be happy with this person? Should I speak to this person? Should I hug this auntie or not? Should I call her auntie? Do you understand? So really, when you are in those kind of spaces, right, that's where it has to start from. The mindset first off. Then what, I mean, now you now look at what exactly do they need, because again, they are special kids, they are special, you know, people. So we now have to look at, okay, teaching them in a way where they will understand. You made mention of the fact that people that are deaf, I don't know, I mean, just like you said,
aggressive tendencies.
Exactly. So it's, you know, I mean, it's understanding that part of them, understanding that each of these children, they are different. Do you understand? Even children that are living with autism and all of that, you see that there are some that are very calm. There are some that when they've gotten to like their teenage age, they are able to speak well, but they have an issue with associating with people. So you know that these people are like of different classes. They are of different, you know, just like you also made mention of the fact that there are some that, I mean, when they are very smart, or it's very hard for you to know that, or they actually, you know, autistic, you know, and all of that. So really, it really starts with, you know, being intentional. I think that's how I'll put it, right? Being intentional, knowing that, okay, these are people that are living with this, you know, this
disabilities.
So it's not, I mean, when you not understand all of these things, it's easy for us to put all of those things in place. One, finding the right teachers that can teach them, people that are open, that understand that, oh, this is what these children are facing. You know, how exactly do we teach them? Because again, the way you teach someone that is blind is different from the way you teach someone that is deaf. Do you understand?
Very true.
Yeah, very true. So it's important that you have all of these things in place. Then if we have like the right teachers and all, then we can now start finding maybe technologies that can now aid, you know, the teaching process. Because again, just like the way we as, you know, as we are now, there's a way, you know, our teachers have taught us in school. The cane, the chalkboard and all. It's definitely going to be different. The teaching style, the teaching technique is going to be different from, you know, the way you teach them. So that's why, I mean, for me, it's the mindset, understanding the children in question you want to teach. Are these people living with, are these ones the blind ones, or are they like deaf or something? So by the time you're able to, you know, sort that out, you're able to know the kind of technology now to add in to now assist or aid whoever the teacher is that will be teaching them. So yeah, that's my take on it, really.
All right, so apologies again. People should pray for my vocals. So looking at this whole thing, one major challenge I have with special needs kids and the help that should be offered is that we have inclusive education. So let me explain what I mean by that. Inclusive education is such that special needs children and regular, normal children sometimes have to stay in the same environment and live together. And I remember when we were posted to different schools, we had some people go to like exclusive special needs school. We had some go to schools where, oh, there were normal kids there and they were the ones that needed special attention. And as much as I understand that the essence of having inclusive environment for these kids is to not essentially isolate them. Like, oh, you have a problem, that's why you are here. The fact that they can interact with other people that seem normal and based on biological function, you know, makes them feel like, okay, I can still blend in with the society. Because eventually, when you chunk out these people in the labor market, you're not just chunking them out to a special environment. They would work with people that are normal. And thank God we have some rules and laws according to the Constitution now that gives provision for special need people to have, you know, some, you know, space in the work environment. I've forgotten the percentage now. So in every work environment, you're expected to leave an allowance for special need people to work there. Someone who doesn't probably have their legs complete or, you know, all of that. So as much as I like the whole idea of the inclusive education that we have in our Nigerian education system now, the problem I have with it, I want to spot out some problems as we begin to, you know, bring this to a reasonable conclusion, is that it's a one-size-fits-all thing. Because, see, for the normal, regular students that we have not even figured out how to attend to all of them, because people can be regular and normal in school. Yet, teaching method has shown us that different people learn at different pace. So imagine now having someone that requires an extra care in that classroom as well, and you're having one teacher that is attending to all of this. Trust me, maybe because of my course of study and the fact that we have gone to many schools, I have seen things. You will see a teacher, one teacher, maybe another assistant teacher, catering for 50 students. How is that even possible?
So there's a problem with why exactly are we having 50 students in a class? That's the problem. No, let's see. You know me, I would say it as it is. What doesn't make sense to me doesn't make sense to me. I'm so sorry. Do you understand? Now, I feel like we should be able to create a balance. Like I said, that somewhere I read about the autism and all, right? So there are some kids that when they get to like their teenage age and all, they're able to speak well, but they have an issue with socializing. So in that kind of situation, now you can take them to the normal regular school. So that way they meet other people, they're able to, speak. Probably there's one adult there that likes her. I feel, why are you not talking?
True.
It starts from there. Do you understand? So I feel like there's a need for first of all, putting them in that special school so that then they are able to, be able to learn certain things about themselves. Because again, you're seeing
there's
somebody that likes
attention
exactly,
for them,
and there's care, there's attention, and all of that. They'll be well taken care of. So when you now see some level of progress, and you know that this child can be able to stay on his own, do his or her thing on his own very well, then you cannot take them to that, regular school now where, they're able to meet people, they're able to associate and all. And so that way, as they keep growing and all, they would somehow losing a bit, and be able to socialize really. Because again, coming back to that story from Bovi angle, right? You hear him when he said that, the child had an issue with speaking and all. That kind of child, this is not like going to be, I'm not stating that because I want to insult anybody. No, that's not what I want to do. Because again, I feel like when it comes out of my mouth, it's going to be sounding funny. But like when you have like a child like that is breaking TV, if you put that child in a regular school, it's somehow going to be like a lot of issues because again, the child cannot speak, right? But cannot speak very well. So just like you said, there's very short span of attention from the teachers to the students. So imagine in that kind of situation, how do you think that teacher will even understand what the child is trying to say? Because the child is trying to pass an information, the person is tired. How exactly does he say? That's the reason why he is, doing everything possible for people to understand that he's either angry or is in a certain kind of mood. Do you understand? So in that kind of situation, I would expect that the child is kept in that special whatever, so that there's proper train up. Then he's not, learning. There's something around their treatment that is around speech and language, teaching or something. Something around their speaking and all. So when that child is able to now maybe being able to speak very well, put out whatever feeling that he or she has, then you cannot take that child to, the regular whatever, so that then they cannot start learning how to socialize. Then you cannot start learning the normal human, the human nature.
All of these things that you have mentioned. Another problem, I don't know why I think I'm highlighting the problems. Because maybe if we start highlighting it and having the right people look into these things, they have been trying their best, because I've heard stories of NGOs and different organizations that are paying attention to special needs too. But another thing is training of teachers. We even have a problem.
I already said that.
We have a problem with teachers that are trained in regular schools, not to talk of teachers that should even be extra trained when they have to deal with special needs. And what would this training entail? Entail, you helping them use their assistive technologies, because some of these people, I think for the deaf student, they have to use some hearing aid. I remember having to write examination with certain students that were blind, and they used some of them used laptop, and I don't even know how I really wish I can know how they use that whole braille stuff, or what they call it, to, do their exams and everything. So we need to have more teachers trained here. Maybe we should just even have a school, or like I mentioned, instead of putting special needs education as like a course in a department, make it a department or a faculty on its own. In fact, in many schools, I've not seen many federal. Maybe, of course, you can maybe dispute this and tell me, but we need to start having more schools paying attention, more facilities, more training grounds for these people, equipping them enough, not just with the technical know-how, but the psychological know-how as well, to deal with the students. And of course, funding still becomes another problem, because if you're going to be dealing with people specially, it comes with special funds as well. And we have, I think, according to the UNICEF and the World Health Organization, over 95% of children with disabilities in low-income countries don't attend school. And that's why, Nigeria included, that's why inclusion helps change this narrative. So it already shows that there's a funding problem too that helps this not become, even helpful. That's why they just chunk them to a regular classroom and expect that a regular teacher will just attend to all of them at once. So since today is to create awareness and make people be aware of this, one thing I want to leave us with is to be sensitive and be humans in our environment. Looking at the story that Goy's Beauty mentioned, we should be sensitive with how we talk to people that we perceive to have some disabilities or are not even, as regular as we think. Because, I mean, we're just lucky to be humans that have every part of our organs working well. And there are some other superheroes that are doing extra to be able to fit into the society. And the best we can do is work alongside with them and not be the reason why they regret being in this space with us. And of course, this is how we wrap today's show. It's been very insightful. We've created the awareness that we want. And of course, if you have your comments, please leave them on our YouTube page and we'll sure read them and of course read them out tomorrow. This is where we wrap up today's show. Till tomorrow again, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Ray's Breakfast. Stay sharp.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?